What Bitcoin's environmentalist critics miss. It's labeled as opinion, but we all know that means it's true. Normally, they put out these FUD, scary articles about how much Bitcoin's using and how it's not as much as Christmas lights and not as much as PlayStation 2s when they're sleeping and not as much as a bunch of other garbage that we don't need. Whereas a nice banking system like Bitcoin, that does sound pretty nice. But this article doesn't say that. This article pushes back, and we will read directly from Alexander Leishman, writing here in Newsweek, now owned by Daily Beast. It's just a tabloid. But he says the achievements of Bitcoin are concealed from public view, but so are Bitcoin's environmental benefits. The logic is simple, but also easy to miss. Bitcoin miners will go where energy is affordable, and increasingly, the most affordable energy is renewable. Over 50% of the energy powering Bitcoin mining comes from renewable sources, and that percentage is growing. In other words, Bitcoin mining has nudged the world towards sustainability by creating economic incentives for renewable energy production. There are parts of the world, including huge patches of arid desert land, in which the sun shines brightly and the wind blows fiercely. But without Bitcoin, it is not profitable to capture that energy. Because Bitcoin can be mined anywhere in the world, it helps ensure that tremendous natural power isn't wasted. The breathless headlines miss all of these facts, but perhaps the errors ought to be expected. They come from a tradition of technophobia that is fretted over everything from the telegraph to the light bulb to the car. In their haste to cover Bitcoin miners' energy use, the critics fall into this familiar pattern, letting technology's short-term effects obscure its long-term benefit and potential. Shocking support from the mainstream media about Bitcoin's energy use. Josh Shigala, what do you think about this incredible take from Newsweek?
Yeah, it's quite refreshing. I mean, it's something we've been saying for I don't know, like 6 years on this show. I don't know how. This is, by the way, folks, the longest running crypto show in the world. I just want to outline that we've been on air longer than any other show in crypto, regularly every Friday. Along with that goes a long string of articles about how Bitcoin's killing the planet. So it is, and every time we say, actually, it's actually driving a lot of R&D into renewable energy, and it's actually driving a lot of pressure into renewables. And in fact, if you go to China, most of the miners that were in China, they're not there anymore because it was made illegal. But most of it was sitting direct at hydropower plants where there was not one single bit of carbon spilt. So yeah, it's really refreshing to see news actually make an article that I would click on. So thanks, Newsweek. Not only did I click on your article about Satoshi Nakamoto being Durian Nakamoto, but I also clicked on this.
I think I've got one of those on the wall behind me over here. Lamar, your thoughts on Newsweek suddenly coming around to Bitcoin's environmental benefits? Yes, benefits.
Listen, man, the media sways whichever way they think the wind's blowing, right? The media said that eggs were bad for you. Then the next time you look around, eggs are good for you. Bitcoin's awful for you. It's going to kill us. The next thing you know, it's something you need to add to your portfolio. That's why you just have to be very careful of the fiat mainstream media. It is backed by fiat, which means they need more and more of it for them to survive, because what they're getting is worth less and less. And so they'll do all of these things just to try to make. Here's the thing: there's nothing greater than creating a hero and then tearing the hero down, and then building them back up again. And Bitcoin has become that hero that media holds on to. Because if you don't go through those cycles, media has nothing to write about. Bitcoin is the most boring subject in the world, and it's boring for a reason, because it's the foundational money layer. Nobody wants to keep talking about the foundational money layer every day. When we try to figure out ways to do it, And the way the media goes about doing it is about creating these provocative pieces, and they're educating you on something that has already been said 45 different times. So the media is just doing what the media does. The energy crisis, there is no crisis. And I mean, I don't know how much more benefit Bitcoin provides to a desert. I just don't know, because you still got to transport the energy from the desert to somewhere else. And that's going to actually use probably some carbon source to get the stuff from the desert into somewhere else. So let's just be real, man. Let's just stack Bitcoin and chill. That's it. It makes it really easy.
Dan, Eve, your thoughts on the media coming around on Bitcoin?
Well, it's just one journalist right now, but it might spread on. And, there's been a number of studies that have said that the amount of renewable energy that's used for Bitcoin is a lot higher than the general media would let you think. And that's because it's, the media plays on doom and gloom, right? It likes the idea of spouting stories of world-ending stories, because a story where something does no damage is a lot less interesting than a story about something that does loads of damage, and you've got to be really concerned about it and give people a reason to go and get like little flyers and pickets and stand outside somewhere and chant things and do crazy shit like glue their face to the ground and stuff like that. But I did read an article today, actually, contrary to this one, which was that, actually, it wasn't contrary, but it said that every Bitcoin transaction costs $100 of electricity. And you just think about look at the shady methodology that they use to come up with it and how crazy it is. But you're going to get those clickbait headlines. That's how the world works, right? That's why, unfortunately, when you read any old article, you see all sorts of random crap about, like, I don't know, Matthew Perry's new like shoes having a hole in them or something random that's just silly, because people like looking at crazy stuff. But it's good that renewables are being monetized. They're driving out the efficiency, and they're driving out the most efficient ways of electricity and turning that into something insanely useful. There is the argument, of course, that that when it comes to shove and the Bitcoin miners have to be turned off because they've got to supply electricity to the grid that's no longer excess, then that's obviously still apparently a bit of an issue. And whether they do actually turn the miners off to provide that electricity, they might get hit by fines or whatever. Who knows? But if this article referenced the fact that it said somewhere in there that there's 50% now that's over 50% that's renewable. So I'm not sure what the source is, but they should provide that source to Tesla so that Tesla start accepting Bitcoin again, and then we go even quicker to 100K, because you know how excited everyone got last time Tesla was accepting Bitcoin.
It was interesting. They had no reason for doing it, and then they canceled it for no reason. I agree with what Lamar said earlier. It does seem like Bitcoin's on the hero's journey, but it seems like it's a circular journey. It's like Groundhog Day. We keep completing the thing, then we wake up and we do it again, and we complete the thing. We wake up, we do it again. We vanquish all these things, and then they come back and they come back. So that's why we covered this article. It was great to see a different take on environmentalism from the mainstream media, who so many times gives us those Bitcoin is using more energy than this small country, or Bitcoin's using more energy than this larger country, or this group of countries, or whatever. And they never mentioned the PlayStation thing. They never mentioned the Christmas lights.
The biggest waste of energy is the articles being written about the waste of energy.
No, it's a whole economy. It's created a whole circular economy of value where, we talk about it, they write about it. We talk about it, they write about it. Look at, and the people listening right now, you guys are obviously pushing that thumbs up button against my wishes here. There are 37 people watching the show. It's supposed to be a secret, not supposed to tell anyone, but you could still push that thumbs up button. You could subscribe down below. Like Josh says, we've been doing these shows since 2013. We recently started replaying some of the old ones. We got a comment the other day. People like my Mad Bitcoins hat. I'm like, that was 8 years ago, guys. 8 years ago. But you can check out all the Mad Bitcoins episodes on the Mad Bitcoins channel. There's like 600 of them.